A week before Christmas, I froze in the hallway when I overheard my own mother laughing about their plan. I wouldn't be a guest at the holiday. I'd be the unpaid babysitter for 9 restless kids. My chest tightened, but I smiled to myself. If they thought I'd play servant again, they had no idea what was coming. On December 24th, when Mom called, "Where are you?" I laughed and told her not to wait for me, or for the catering. What they didn't know was that their perfect Christmas was already collapsing. My name is Madison. I'm 28, and if you just glanced at my life on paper, you'd think I had it figured out. I work as a data analyst at a tech company, my own apartment near the city. Decent money that lets me eat out when I feel like it, and even splurge on little luxuries. People at work call me the one who has it all together. But they don't know the part of my life that makes my stomach twist every weekend, the part that begins and ends with my family. I only live 30 minutes from my parents' house, close enough that visits are easy, too close to make excuses. And for a long time, I didn't want to make excuses. I love my parents, or at least I used to think I did in the uncomplicated way children love their parents. But the older I got, the more complicated that love became. Take my sister Laura. She's 34, 6 years older than me, married to her high school sweetheart Mark. They've got 2 kids, Ethan 9 and Chloe 7. Cute kids full of energy. They call me Aunt Maddie and always run into my arms when they see me. That part melts me every time. But what comes after? That's the part that's been grinding me down for years. Almost every Saturday morning around 9 a.m., there's a knock at my apartment door. Sometimes I'm still in pajamas, sometimes I'm halfway through coffee, sometimes I'm not even awake yet. But it doesn't matter because it's always the same scene, Laura standing there with a too bright smile, Ethan and Chloe bouncing at her side backpacks slung over their shoulders. "Hey, Mads, the kids are so excited to spend the day with their favorite aunt." She chirps, kisses them both goodbye, and before I can protest, before I can even draw a breath, she's gone. Off to brunch with Mark or the movies or a couple's spa day. 12 hours later, she's back. Sometimes it's almost 10 p.m. By the time she shows up looking refreshed and glowing while I'm standing in a living room littered with Legos, half-eaten pizza crusts, and 2 overtired kids fighting over the remote. At first I told myself I didn't mind. They're family, right? That's what we do. We help each other, and I do love those kids. But after the 10th Saturday in a row and then the 20th, the pattern stopped feeling like love and started feeling like exploitation. 3 months ago, I hit my breaking point. It was a Sunday morning, the kids had just left, and I was sitting at my kitchen table, staring at my untouched breakfast. My eyes burned from exhaustion. My head buzzed from noise that wasn't even there anymore. I picked up my phone and called Laura. "Hey, Laura, I started carefully. Can we talk about the Saturday thing?" There was silence on the other end long enough that I thought maybe the call had dropped. Then her voice came back sharp but coated in that fake hurt she's perfected over the years. "Wow, Madison, I can't believe you'd even bring that up. You're being selfish. Mark and I work all week. We barely get time together. You don't have kids. You don't have a husband. What else are you doing on Saturdays anyway?" I tried to explain, my voice trembling as I said, I might want to go out to date to see friends. I wanted to say I was exhausted too, that my job drained me, that I deserved my weekends. But Laura wasn't listening. "You're being ridiculous. Ethan and Chloe adore you. You're basically their second mom. Why would you deny them that?" When I hung up, my hands shook with rage and shame. Somehow she had turned my plea for balance into an attack on her, and I was the selfish one. 2 weeks later, I tried a different approach. Sunday dinner at my parents' house. The table smelled of roast chicken and herbs, the familiar comfort of home wrapping around me, and for a moment, I thought maybe I'd be heard. "Mom, Dad," I began pushing food around my plate. "I love spending time with Ethan and Chloe, but it's a lot every weekend. Maybe we could work out a schedule, like rotate so I get some time off." My dad barely looked up from his plate. "Madison, those children are family. You help family. And Mom set down her fork and gave me the kind of disappointed look that made me feel 13 again. "Honey, I raised you better than this. Laura works hard. She deserves time with Mark. You're single. You don't have responsibilities like she does. And honestly, Taking care of Ethan and Chloe is the best preparation you could ask for. When you get married and have children of your own, you'll be grateful for all this experience. I opened my mouth to argue, but Laura jumped in with that smirk. You can date Friday nights or Sunday nights. Your friends can hang out with you and the kids. It's not that complicated, Mads. Dad nodded. Your sister's right. Family comes first. Something inside me twisted so hard I thought I might break. I wanted to scream, to flip the table, to tell them I wasn't their babysitter. But instead, I smiled, weakly nodded, and ate my dinner. I played the good daughter. Driving home that night, the roads wet with rain, I remembered a Christmas when I was 16. Laura had been 22, newly married, and she and Mark wanted to go to some big holiday party. Mom and Dad told me you'll stay with the kids. That was before Ethan and Chloe, back when Laura used to babysit for our cousins. I remember sitting in a living room with 4 screaming toddlers while the adults drank mulled wine by the fireplace. That was the first time I felt invisible. 16 years later, nothing had changed. And maybe that's why, when December rolled around and the air smelled of cinnamon and pine, I wasn't looking forward to Christmas at all. Because deep down, I knew my family didn't see me as Madison the adult. They saw me as Madison the free babysitter, the girl whose time didn't matter. And I was starting to wonder just how far they'd push me this time. The first week of December, my phone lit up with Mom's name. I was at my desk at work, eyes sore from spreadsheets, when I answered. "Hi, sweetheart," she said in that sing-song tone that always made me wary. "I'm calling about Christmas." Instantly, I felt my chest tighten. "We're going to have a big celebration this year. Your Aunt Carol is bringing her 3 kids. Uncle Mike and Aunt Sarah are coming with their 2, and of course Mark's parents and his brother's family will be there. All together. Oh, about 25 people." I forced my voice steady. "That sounds nice, Mom. What do you need me to bring?" "Well..." She paused just long enough for me to know something was coming. "I don't think I can cook for that many people by myself. I was hoping you could take care of the food, maybe order catering from a nice restaurant. You're doing so well at your job, honey. The rest of us are struggling a bit right now." My grip tightened on the phone. Catering for 25 people wasn't pocket change. How much are we talking? "Oh, I don't know. Around 2,000 maybe. But it'll be so special, Madison. Everyone together, a big feast. No stress for me." I stared at the spreadsheet on my screen, numbers blurring. $2,000, that was the trip I'd been saving for the one chance to take a vacation outside the city. But Mom's voice trembled with just the right amount of strain, and the guilt hooked into me like it always did. "Okay, Mom," I whispered. "I'll handle it." Her relief was instant. "Thank you, honey. You're such a good daughter. I'll send you a list of everyone's favorite dishes." When the call ended, I dropped my head into my hands. It was just one time, I told myself. One Christmas dinner. A week later, the phone rang again. This time, it was the catering company. "Ms. Wilson, this is Sarah from Romano's. We have a small issue with your order. The honey-glazed ham is unavailable. Could we substitute roasted turkey instead? It seemed like a small problem, but I didn't want to make the decision without asking my family. Let me check and call you back." I hung up and dialed Mom. Straight to voicemail. Dad voicemail. Laura voicemail. All 3 phones off at the same time. Something prickled at the back of my neck. That evening, I drove to my parents' house. Snow crunched under my tires, the neighborhood glowing with Christmas lights. I used my key to let myself in. The house smelled of pot roast, familiar and warm. Then I froze. From the living room, I heard Mom's voice. Loud, cheerful, animated. She was on the landline. "Oh, Carol, it's perfect," she was saying. "Madison will be watching all the kids. Don't worry about bringing activities. They'll be fine upstairs. We're setting up the back bedroom with movies and games, and Madison can stay with them while the adults enjoy ourselves downstairs." My body went cold. 9 children. 10 maybe. And me trapped upstairs with them like some underpaid nanny while everyone else sipped wine and played cards. Mom's voice lowered, but I could still hear the smile in it. "It's perfect. Madison doesn't have kids of her own, so she's not tired like the rest of us. She's the youngest, full of energy. She does it every Saturday anyway. What's a few more for one night?" I gripped the wall, my scarf wound tight around my fist. My grandmother had given me that scarf before she passed, and suddenly it felt like the only thing tethering me to reality. My stomach churned. This wasn't a mistake, wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a setup. They had never planned for me to enjoy Christmas. I was the hired help, except I wasn't hired. I was just expected. I stepped back toward the door, heart racing. But then the call ended and Mom's footsteps came closer. I forced my voice into something normal. "Mom, I just got here." She appeared, fake surprise plastered on her face. "Madison, what a lovely surprise. What brings you here?" the restaurant called. "The ham's out. They're offering turkey instead. Is that okay?" "Oh, turkey sounds perfect. Whatever you think is best, sweetheart." Her smile was too wide, her eyes too knowing. I nodded left quickly and sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel until my hands hurt. By the time I got home, my decision was made. I called Romano's back. "Hi, this is Madison Wilson. I need to cancel my Christmas Eve order. Cancel, Ms. Wilson. Christmas is only a week away. We can refund part, but you'll only get about $1,000 back." "That's fine. Cancel it." When I hung up, my chest felt lighter and heavier all at once. Then I remembered something. A call from months ago. Jessica, my old college roommate. "Come to Colorado for Christmas," she'd said. "My family has a cabin in the mountains. Skiing, hot chocolate, a real holiday." Back then, I'd turned her down without a thought. Family came first. Now, staring at the refund email on my screen, I scrolled to Jessica's number. "Jess, remember that Christmas invite? Is it still open?" Her laugh was bright, bubbling through the phone. "Are you serious?" "Of course. Drive out on the 23rd. We're heading up to the cabin then." When the call ended, I sank back against the couch, heart pounding in a new rhythm. For the first time, I wasn't going to play along. For the first time, I wasn't going to be their servant. And they had no idea what was coming. December 23rd arrived with a sharp bite in the air, the kind of cold that nips at your cheeks even before you step outside. I left work early, packed my bags, and slid them into the trunk of my car. The city was buzzing with holiday chaos traffic, thick horns, impatient, everyone rushing somewhere. But as I pulled onto the highway, leaving the skyline behind, I felt lighter. Hours later, I reached Jessica's parents' house in Colorado. The night smelled of pine and snow, the kind that crunches under your boots like brittle glass. Her parents, Mike and Carol, welcomed me with open arms. They weren't just polite, they were genuinely warm, ushering me into their home as if I had always been part of their family. We played board games until midnight, laughter spilling across the kitchen table. I couldn't remember the last time I'd laughed like that with my own family. The next morning, we loaded up their SUV and drove to the cabin. It was straight out of a postcard, log walls, smoke curling from the chimney, snow-draped pines as far as the eye could see. Inside it smelled of wood and cocoa. Jessica showed me to a room with quilts stacked on the bed and windows that framed the mountains. For the first time in years, I felt like Christmas might actually belong to me. That feeling lasted until about 3 p.m. on Christmas Eve. My phone buzzed on the couch beside me. The screen lit up with Mom. Jessica raised her eyebrows. Showtime. I forced a smile and answered. "Madison? Where are you?" Mom's voice was sharp, threaded with panic. "Everyone's here. The food was supposed to arrive an hour ago." I took a deep breath, staring at the fire crackling in the hearth. "I'm not coming, Mom." Silence. Then, "What do you mean you're not coming?" "Don't be ridiculous. Get over here right now." I let the words fall heavy. "I heard you last week, talking to Aunt Carol. I know all about your plan to dump me upstairs with 9 kids while everyone else enjoyed Christmas." The silence this time was deafening. I imagined her hand clenching around the phone, her fake smile cracking. Finally, her voice returned cold and defensive. "You're being dramatic. That's not what you heard. I know exactly what I heard. And I'm not doing it anymore. Don't wait for the catering either. I canceled it." The eruption came immediately. Voices in the background. Laura's sharp tone, Dad's booming indignation. Then Laura herself grabbed the phone. "Madison, what the hell is wrong with you? We all plan to relax while you watch the kids. You're being completely selfish." My laugh came out sharper than I expected. I'm tired of being your free babysitter, Laura, and your backup wallet. I won't do it anymore. You think this is about money, she snapped. You don't understand how hard it is to raise kids. You don't know what sacrifice means. No, you're right, I said evenly. I don't have kids, which means Christmas isn't supposed to be about me raising yours. Before she could answer, I hung up. Jessica stared at me wide-eyed. Wow, that was intense. Are you okay? I looked around at the cozy cabin, the firelight flickering against the log walls, the scent of cinnamon drifting from the kitchen where her mom was baking. I thought about my family back home, pacing, panicking, their perfect plan unraveling in real time. I'm better than okay, I said softly. I'm free. I switched my phone off and didn't turn it on again until Christmas morning. When I finally did, the screen exploded with notifications. 43 missed calls, 27 unread texts, the first from Mom. Call me back immediately. Where are you? This is unacceptable. Then nastier ones. You are cruel and selfish. You've ruined Christmas for everyone. Laura's messages were venomous. I can't believe you did this to us. We had to scramble at the last minute. We ate garbage food. The kids were miserable. Mark chimed in. Your sister's crying. The kids are asking why there's no Christmas dinner. Dad's words cut deepest. We spent Christmas in chaos. The kids ran wild, the house was a mess, and the guests left early. This is all your fault. I read them all sitting in a cabin filled with laughter. The smell of cinnamon rolls the sound of snow falling outside. And instead of guilt, I started laughing. Because while my family was chasing 9 screaming kids and scrounging for leftovers, I was sipping cocoa by the fire with people who actually wanted me around. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the servant in my own family story. But I knew it wasn't over. Because if there was one thing my parents and Laura couldn't stand, it was losing control. And I had just shattered their grip on me in the most public, humiliating way possible. 4 days later, December 29th, the knock on my apartment door shook the walls. Not polite, not tentative, angry, insistent. I froze with my coffee mug halfway to my lips. Through the peephole, I saw exactly what I expected. Mom, Dad, and Laura standing in the hallway, their faces tight with fury. I opened the door slowly. Hi, don't you hi us. Mom snapped, sweeping past me like she owned the place. Dad and Laura followed, shutting the door behind them. My small apartment suddenly felt claustrophobic shadows falling across the walls as the winter light outside dulled. Dad's voice was clipped. We need to talk. Okay, I said evenly, setting my coffee down on the counter. Let's talk. Mom turned to face me, her eyes red-rimmed, her voice trembling with anger. How could you do this to us, Madison? 25 people sat down expecting a Christmas dinner, and we had nothing. Nothing. Dad added. The guests were asking where the food was. We had to tell them there was a mix-up with the catering. We looked like fools. Laura stepped closer, her cheeks flushed with rage. Rick's family thinks we're completely disorganized now. His mother kept asking why we didn't have backup plans. I was mortified. And the children, Mom threw up her hands. 9 screaming kids running wild, destroying the house. It was chaos. I let out a small laugh, bitter and sharp. Gee, that sounds terrible. Having to actually watch your own children during a holiday. I can't imagine how exhausting that must have been. Don't be smart with us, young lady, Dad barked. You know exactly what you did. Yeah, I said, straightening my spine. I do know what I did. I chose not to be your unpaid babysitter and your personal caterer. I chose myself. You're our daughter. Mom cried, tears spilling now. You're supposed to help family. I stared at her, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my fingertips. Help family? But what you wanted wasn't help. You wanted me to pay for everyone's dinner and then spend the entire holiday locked upstairs with 10 kids while you partied downstairs. That's not helping. That's being used. Laura's voice cracked like a whip. You are so selfish. We work hard all week. We deserve to relax on holidays. And I don't work hard. I shot back. I don't deserve to relax. What makes your time worth more than mine? "You don't have children," she screamed. "You don't understand how hard it is." I felt my hands clench around the scarf draped on my chair, the red scarf from my grandmother. It grounded me, reminded me of her voice. "Don't let anyone turn you into their shadow." "You're right," I said softly but firmly. "I don't have children." Which means Christmas isn't about me raising yours. It's supposed to be about family spending time together. But you never wanted me there as family. You wanted me there as labor. Mom's tears turned cold. Her voice dropped sharp as glass. "Because of you, we'll never be able to show our faces to those relatives again. Everyone thinks we're terrible hosts. Aunt Carol said she'll never come back for Christmas. Uncle Mike's family left early. Rick's brother asked if our family always has such disasters. Do you understand what you've done to us?" I looked at all three of them, their eyes burning holes into me, and I realized for the first time that I didn't care. "You know what I don't care?" I said, my voice steady. "I don't care that your Christmas was ruined. I don't care that the guests left early. I don't care that you were embarrassed, because you've been using me for years. Every Saturday, Laura dumps her kids on me. Every holiday you expect me to pay, cook, clean, babysit. Never once did you ask what I wanted. Never once did you treat me like an equal." Dad's jaw tightened. "We're your family. Family doesn't manipulate each other," I fired back. "Family doesn't plot behind each other's backs. Family doesn't laugh about turning one of their own into free childcare." For a moment, silence. The air was thick, the only sound the faint hum of my fridge. Then Mom straightened, wiping her cheeks, her voice like ice. "Fine. If that's how you feel, then we're done. We won't invite you to family gatherings anymore. We won't include you in holidays. You can be alone." "Good," I said without hesitation. Their eyes widened like they'd expected me to crumble to beg. "You don't mean that," Laura whispered. "I absolutely mean it. I'm tired of being the family servant. I have my own life, and I'm finally going to live it." "You'll regret this," Mom said, her lip trembling. "When you're older and alone, you'll regret pushing your family away. The only thing I regret," I said quietly, "is not standing up for myself sooner." Dad pointed toward the door. "Let's go. She's made her choice." They marched out, but Mom turned back one last time, her face a mask of fury and sorrow. "Don't come crying to us when you realize what you've lost." "I won't," I said, and I meant it. The door shut behind them with a finality that echoed through the apartment. For 10 minutes, I stood there in silence, the red scarf warm against my palm, until the tension drained from my shoulders. Then I picked up my phone and blocked all their numbers. For the first time, I had drawn the line, and I wasn't crossing back. But deep down, I knew this wasn't the end, because families like mine don't give up their scapegoats so easily. The next few days were quiet, almost unnervingly so. My phone stayed stubbornly silent, no calls, no texts. For the first time in years, I woke up on a Saturday morning and didn't hear a knock at my door, didn't brace myself for 2 kids tumbling in with backpacks and toys. Instead, I slept in. I made pancakes just for myself, sat by the window with coffee, and watched the city dusted in snow. The peace was strange, but it was mine. A few relatives tried to reach me, an aunt calling to say Mom was heartbroken, a cousin urging me to apologize. Each time I repeated the same line, "When they're ready to admit they used me, we can talk." The silence that followed told me none of them were ready, and that was fine. Because for the first time in my adult life, I wasn't waiting for their approval. I was living my own weekends, my own holidays. I started dating someone new, a man named Daniel I'd met through a mutual friend. We went for late dinners, walked through winter markets, talked about everything and nothing. I wasn't checking my phone, worried my family would dump responsibilities on me at any second. I could finally be present in my own life. Still, there were moments I caught myself staring at that red scarf, the one my grandmother gave me. I'd drape it over my shoulders before stepping out into the cold, and I'd feel her words again. "Don't let anyone turn you into their shadow." Maybe it had taken me too long to learn that lesson, but I had learned it. 2 months passed. The distance from my family felt less like a wound and more like a healing scar tender, but proof I'd survived. Then one evening, as I was finishing dinner with Daniel, my phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "We need to talk." Mom. I stared at it, my fork suspended in midair. For a moment, old habits tugged at me, the urge to respond, to smooth things over, to fall back into the role I'd always played. But then I glanced at the scarf hanging on the back of my chair, the fabric catching the light, a reminder of the boundary I had finally built. I didn't reply. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Because here's the truth, I finally understood family shouldn't mean sacrificing yourself for their convenience. Family should mean respect. Until they understood that there was nothing left to say. I shut off my phone, leaned back in my chair, and let the quiet fill the room. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of the silence. And as the city lights blinked outside, I knew this story wasn't over. But the next chapter, that one, would be mine to write. If you've ever felt trapped by family expectations or taken for granted, this story is for you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more true stories, and stay tuned. The next twist might surprise you.